Yo, what's going on, guys? Uh, it's your boy, EP, whatever. Um, okay. Oh, I'm sorry. I'll leave you alone. Uh-oh, I died. I didn't mean to die. I'm not that bad, but it's a good way to start it. First death, I was trying to go on a no-death run right now, but, um, today, like, one of the things, I was talking about is just, like, recently, like, just OCD. I have OCD. Just had a really bad, relapse this other day, which was kind of crappy because I've been working on pretty hard to like not do compulsions and stuff, but yeah. But but anyways, whole goal of this channel is just kind of just speak my mind and like, if you got any like questions in the comments, I'll answer them. And I don't really want to show my face on this channel, and I don't really, I really want to just kind of leave it to the other side of things and whatever. Um, but yeah. But anyways, so a lot of things have been going on. Like super stressed out and everything. Like just like anybody else, right? Everyone's stressed out. Um, but recently, I've been studying for a big exam. The MCAT. So it can be a little much, at times. It's pretty lonely, No, there's not a lot of people there when you're like kind of doing that stuff, right? And like, kind of sucks. And it's kind of just a reality, right? And I mean, most people understand that. Like, if you're taking the MCAT or anything like in life, right? Um, you're gonna deal with hardships and whatever. But yeah. So just give you like quick synopsis or just more of an idea what OCD is. Um, but OCD is like, it's a mental health disorder, and it's like what comes in the name obsessions, compulsion disorder, and 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 I got that, but everybody has issues, right? That's the moral of the story. But so my OCD kind of just entails like just a multitude of things since like growing up, and you could see the patterns when like you're younger and like you kind of reflect on life because like uh, the way you do things is just wasn't normal per se, and you kind of like you're like, oh, okay, that makes a lot of sense now that I feel this way. I had to take a sip of my zero sugar Coca-Cola, but a lot of it has really like kind of like you know put it's really like made my perspective and like just how to like view things on life, because like I used to view things so like just wrong, and that was in part due to my OCD. And like growing up as a kid, um, like one of the first things I can remember that kind of like entailed that is like I'd wake up multiple times a night just to check on my family to see that they're alive, because something in my head was like telling me like, yo, like you gotta check on them or they're gonna be dead, like that kind of thing. It's like it's weird, but I would do that multiple times a night and it was horrible. But and like other things were like I just perfectionism, because like I would always like if I didn't know something right away, like I would just stay away from it. So which leads you to like not to avoid, and it teaches you to avoid things that you don't get it right away or you're not perfect at. So it's like that came to that too, which kind of I guess it's just like you try to control everything, right? And that's the whole. What the heck? I didn't even hit it, but yeah, you try to control everything. You try to like try to make things the way you want, and and that's where the compulsions come in, because compulsions are. Oh wow, it's burp. But compulsions are the things that like give you some sort of control, right? And that's why you see all these people like will do cleaning and like different rituals. And you know, like I have rituals too. So, oh, I just died. Oh, sorry. It's been a minute, but um, but yeah, but it, you know, a lot of things kind of like really like, you know, puts perspective on things and like the way you view things, you know, and that's what happened to me. And I'm spawning here. I forgot to go over there, but I just remember like growing up. I guess another one's like when I was a kid, like somebody said like a gang was gonna shoot up our school, and then like, you know, and they were gonna say if you were like a certain like gang color, you're gonna get shot. And so ever since then, like I would bring like I would wear a shirt to make sure I didn't have that certain color, or like, you know, I'm gonna be the guy that like ruins everything, and like they come there and they shoot up the school, that kind of thing. And if like I didn't do that, that was gonna happen. Like that's what it is, you know. Um, I'd always like walk on like you know, like, you know, everyone does this, but it's like I would always walk on you know, tile flooring, like the squares, and like not stepping on lines and stuff, and like that was kind of typical. But I mean, that seemed like a lot of people do that, but like I would have to go back and restart if I saw that, which is very draining. And it'd be the same thing with like studying or anything that would go in my life. Like I just like everything. And you know, one of the recent things that happened was like, you know, there's like another subtype, and that kind of like went away, and like, and I didn't know this at the time that I had it. Oh, what the hell? Oh, I thought I dodged that. Sorry, man. But, you know, like, I would have some issues like that. And, like, I didn't, like, want to have those issues, but one of the big things was, like, you know, relationships. And, like, I'd always have these weird things where, like, I'd get out of a relationship, you know, like, I kind of would, like, process the feelings and all that stuff, but, like, to a point, like, it just comes back, like, it's like the what ifs and all that, and it's like you're like overthinking all these things, like, and all these feelings come back, like, that you don't want. And like I'd have to do like certain compulsions where like I would have to, like, you know, do something to like make sure that, like, you know, like I still like them, or like making sure that like they know. I don't know, it's like, I guess it's like for certainty and like that stuff. So like, you know, texting like people constantly to make sure, like, hey, it's like you get certain like I'm still here. It's kind of like an, you know, anxious attachment style, but like to a different degree, right? And it's hard to, and it's like it's hard to get out of like the irrational thinking, and like you're very well aware that like this is like, it's irrational. It's like it is not right at all. And but like you just like, and what if it is? You know, what if? Like, you gotta make sure, you gotta get certainty, you know, like, and or you can just do that compulsion over there and just to make sure, you know. And I recently just got out of a relationship, and like, and I've been going to like doing like this, you know, going to therapy, doing like exposures, because that's what you do, like kind of making acceptance, and like, and you know, to try to avoid that stuff, because when that like anxiety or like that certainty that you need to go do this right now, or like something really bad will happen, is very overwhelming. Because like there's a difference where like I can tell the difference between those two, especially with like just regular anxiety. But like this one's like I have to stop everything to do this. Like it's like that, and it's terrible. Like I remember like I would do things and leave things because I had to go do a compulsion and like all that stuff, and it wasn't fun. I mean, it's not, it's terrible, but yeah, and it would take a lot of time of my day. But going back to the story, I just recently got I got out of a relationship like maybe like 4 months ago, and to be honest, like, you know, we had some issues, like, um, I just remember, like, I didn't know if I really liked this girl or not. And, like, you know, like, I cared about her, but, like, we both lived in, like, two different states. And we went to go meet in a state. And, you know, and, like, you know, there's some background on her, kind of, like, I kind of knew, like, just things weren't going to work out. And, like, it's just, like, we just had different views on things. Well, you know. But anyways, and it was just weird because I didn't really, like, per se, like, you know, like, I liked the girl, but then, you know, we got to a point where, like, you know, whatever. And, like, I was kind of, like, you know, like, I ended up buying a ticket to go into her place where she lived, but, like, I ended up spending money and that didn't happen. But we ended up meeting in person. And, you know, I had fun and everything like that, but I wasn't sure if I, like, liked this girl first when I went there, and, you know. Or, I mean, I did like her, but I can't say, like, I wanted to be with her. And then, like, we had we went to, like, a hockey game. And there was a girl that grabbed her, she complimented this girl that she had, like, a Attack on Titan hockey jersey. And she ends up grabbing my ex and, like, just, like, forcefully grabbing her. And I was just like, what's going on? That was really weird. And then, like, I was gonna go up to her and, like, see what was going on, because this girl was, like choke holding, like, my girlfriend at the time. Or not choke holding, but just, like, aggressively holding her. And then, like, this girl, you know, whatever, she's just, like, goes at your man's or whatever. But anyways, I was just like, I'm like, that was really weird. And I'm like, I didn't like that this girl just straight up just grabbed you like that. And, like, I mean, like, yeah. And I, you know, and, like, I was pretty frustrated by that, because, like, whatever, but instead, like, she got mad at me. My ex did. She didn't like that I got like that. And I was just kind of just bothered by it the rest of the game, and it kind of just ruined the mood. And, you know, and, like, that situation and the way she reacted towards me too, and, like, she got mad at me. And, you know, we were dating. We were supposed to be close, and she just was not. She was on that person's side or something like that. I don't know. I wouldn't say so, but, you know, it turns out, like, you know, she didn't want to deal with it. And I'm like, all right. In my head, I was just like, because there's some other things when I got there. Like, she lied a lot about a bunch of stuff. And, like, her past, and just, like, you know, just hearing some other things, how avoidant of a person is. And especially that situation, like, got me thinking, like, you know what, this isn't going to work out. Like, I don't want to be with this person. And, like, and I kind of, like, lost my feelings for her in that moment, too. But, yeah. But anyways, like, we spent the rest of the time, and, like, you know, that the trip was, like, the rest of the time was just, like, it was just awkward. And, like, you know, and, like, I try to fix it and everything like that, or, like, I mean, I try to talk to her, and, like, you know, and I was, like, hoping, like, you know, maybe we could talk this over, and, like, I'd give it, like, a chance, like, because, you know, I'm gonna talk, and she's, like, didn't want to talk about it, and, like, we couldn't process it because she wanted to avoid it. She didn't want to, like, use a mess. I don't know, but yeah, and so. And then, like, later on, like, we talked about it, and that girl was asking her to have sex with her. And I was just like, that's really fucking weird. And as I told her that, and she didn't like that I responded to that. And she's like, I don't know. And I mean, I thought it was weird. It was just like, that's just a weird thing to do. I don't think it's right to do either, but, you know. But it was weird to me. And she didn't like that. She didn't really, like, see that, you know. And I can see why, like, on my aspect, like, my side of things, it could be kind of, like, a little too much. But, like, I could have, you know, like, there's a bunch of things I could have done better in that situation to make it better. But reality is, I didn't like it, and she really showed her, like, true character. Like, she just was like, yeah, whatever that stuff happens. And I'm like, yeah, I get that, but I just don't like it when people are forcefully grabbing you when they're drunk. Like, that's not right. And she was just like, well, it happens to me all the time. I'm like, why are you letting, I don't know, whatever. She's like, you're letting people grab you. I'm like, whatever. But like, and she got really mad at that. And I was pretty bothered by it and annoyed. And so like that moment and then she told me some other things about her past and how, and she lied about a bunch of stuff. And I'm like, all right, like, this isn't going to work out. And I'm like, I need to go home, process it a little bit, and like, get more of an idea of what I want to do. Um, or like, not be in the moment of out of emotions, like saying like, I want to break up now, like, you pissed me off and all that stuff, and like, that was pretty fucked up, not you being on my side, or like, because I cared about her. That's why I saw somebody grabbing her, and I was like, that was really weird. Yeah, but whatever. Anyways, I get home, and like I had to go to work the next day, and went in the morning, and like I only got like 2 or 3 hours of sleep. And she texted me. We texted a few times, and like, she was very distant, and like when she was texting me, she wasn't saying anything. She was just like very like nonchalant, and I'm like, and like even the whole time we were at the airport, because we sat at the airport together for like 10 hours, and I would try to talk to her. I'm like, yo, what's up? She's like, nothing. And like, whatever. And uh, and she I wanted to talk, and like I wish like we were able to communicate more, like, hey, this isn't gonna work out. But she didn't even want to have that conversation either when we were there. Like, she was very avoidant of it. She was avoidant of me like doing that. But we got back. She texted me a few times, and I didn't text her the rest of the day, even at, like, at work and stuff. And when I got home, I was just like, I'm just gonna go home, sleep, kind of think about it, process it, and like I need to make sure that like I'm in a good headspace when I make this decision, and because I'm leaning towards more of that. And if I wake up, feeling more refreshed and that's still on my mind, like, yeah, it's gonna be a choice. Ended up waking up at like 12 a.m. But she texted me saying that she was saying like, this isn't gonna work out, and I don't know, I was so mad, but I didn't, at the time, like, he's just like, I agree, like I felt relief of it, and like, and it was like, I knew that was a bad choice, but at the same time, like, I wanted to, kind of talk over the phone or like FaceTime, and like, but she just texted me saying that. And then, she was saying that it was a waste of time to FaceTime. I'm like, yeah, I agree, but like, still, like, we should communicate it, like, whatever. And then, yeah, then it ended. And I was like, damn, this person broke up with me over text. And I'm like, that's really shitty, and it just showed me how shit of a person this person is. And I was, you know, she did show me like multiple times like who she was as a person and all that kind of mumbo jumbo, especially like dealing with other things. And like, yeah. And we yeah, kind of just broke it up, and I was pretty frustrated because this person did that to me, and she just didn't care enough, and she was, but I mean, I learned her true character. Like, she wasn't a good person. She wasn't the one for me. Or I can't say she's a good person, but like, she treated me like shit. It's like, I can say that. But anyways, and I was kind of relieved, I was on the same page, and I'm like, like, this wasn't gonna work out. But like, the OCD stuff started really kicking in recently, and like, I honestly haven't really been even thinking about it. Like, I kind of felt like I processed it and the emotions and stuff, and the OCD thing came back again, and it came back like this week, and I was just like, what if, like, like, I didn't get to say this, I didn't know, like, why did she break up with me over text, and like, I know what the reason why is, like, all because it was kind of there and we didn't really talk about it. But I ended up texting her, and like, it wasn't like good text. I was just like, telling her like what was on my mind and everything, and I'm like, and it would bring my anxiety down, because like, it was just like this overwhelming thing. It's just like, my anxiety was off the wall. I couldn't sleep, and I'm like, I got to do this now so I can get some relief, so I'm not thinking about anything. And like I was I was pretty frustrated that I ended up doing that. And like I forgot where I go here. Where do I go, mate? But or I'll go up the stairs, that's right. Um but yeah, and I was just like, like whatever, and it just kind of all came out. And it's weird because like I want her to like get certainty, like telling me certain things, and, like how the relationship, what she was thinking, and like my rational self was like, I don't really want to know this because I don't care, but like just in case, like I want to know. and and it just didn't, the text didn't really end that well, but she kind of like responded and said it, and I'm like, all right, I got my certainty, but like it came off again because there was other things that like I wanted to say, and like all that stuff, and I was just like, hindsight's 2020, but what I was thinking was just not rational, and it was just going out of my mind because I was like, I felt like I had to like do it. I had to text this person, like just in case that they were like that they knew that how they treated me, and like that kind of thing. And there's like no reason to, because the relationship's dead months ago, and like I didn't have feelings, and like it's weird, like now it's like kind of almost like over it, but like it just sucked because I've been working on moments like just not to do that anymore. And like it's like right now it's like I don't care. and it's like I know this person was really bad for me, and like what the hell. But yeah, this person was really bad for me, and like it's just like just wasn't gonna go anywhere, right? And it didn't. And like like I learned what kind of person she was. She clearly didn't care enough about me to like just leave it like that, and whatever. Damn, I died to the cleric beast. I wasn't paying attention. But yeah, and I was just like, was wondering, yo, why did I do this? Like, and I'm sitting here like, and like I'd had to text her again to get that same type of relief. Like I had to do it, and I did it like 3 times, and it was just like, it's just like I was like just overwhelmed, and like I'm like, dude, this isn't right, because like why would I want to be texting her? And it's not right in right mind to like be texting somebody like multiple times. Like I texted her like I think like 4 times, but like she texted back and forth, and like I had to make sure that I said everything, like everything that was on my mind for no reason. And like I wanted to like feel bad, like I wanted her to tell me like, oh, everything's your fault and all that kind of stuff, and like you're a loser, and like that's how like my OCD works. But like I would get relief after every text, and she texts me back, and then like the recent one, like this was like yesterday, and I sent in, I'm like, I can't go back. And then like after like I got some rest, and it's like now I just don't, I'm like back to the way that I felt. It's kind of weird, and it's just like and I was pretty disappointed in myself that I just didn't let that anxiety go and just accept the uncertainty, because like in my mind, the rational part of me, I'm not interested in this person, and I know this person is not good for me, and she's not a good person, or I mean not a good, she's a shit person. You can be a shit person, still be a good person at the same time, but she's a shit person. She treated me like shit, and her track record shows for it. And like, but like I wanted just this unrelenting force of acceptance from her, or certainty, or like validation, that kind of thing. And that's what gives me like that sense of relief. And I don't know. And there's no reason to, because like I would have texted her if I really wanted to know. I would have called her right away after when she texted me that. I would have been like, "Yo, let's talk," or I could tried a few more times. You know, like I could have called her anytime too, and like or done other things that contacted her earlier. But like I just I just didn't have any feelings for her. But or not feelings, but like it's just like I knew the relationship was gonna work, and then like I felt like I processed everything. Boom, I just unrelenting force of like I want to do this right now, like that kind of thing. It's like I need to do this now. That's what kind of like OCD does. But and I'm just and the biggest thing I've learned from these things is just like kind of like accept as is, and just like you know like and like the biggest thing is like I shouldn't be talking to this person because there's no reason to, and it's just like it's not going to do anything good for me spending time on this person, right? And that's the moral of the story. I mean, I can go anyway with like people in relationships, right? But yeah, and like it just I forgot. I think hitting them is like easier. But yeah. Oh, we got it. Perfect. Such a hard bad, but yeah, pretty much like dealing with all that stuff and like whatever. It's just like it just to me doesn't make any sense to contact this person because like what is it gonna bring? Nothing because you know and it sucks, and that's how I kind of relapse. And the one thing you do is just you gotta go on. I did all these compulsions, and that was a part of it too. And you know and it's like one of the biggest things for like OCD is that you want certainty about something and like things that you can control. And if you can't control something, you kind of freak out. And it's weird like that. When that happened, it's just like it's not me. And it's like right now it's like I don't harbor anything, like I don't even feel anything. But like when this OCD is like comes back, it's just like, what if you do this, like you need to do this, or what if that, and then like you do these compulsions, and like that compulsion was just a text her and get certainty of certain things from her. And like there was no reason to because for some god knows reason it just came back saying that stuff and saying that you like her. And I'm like, I don't, like my real self doesn't. And that's just how it is. Like the OCD like brings that overwhelming anxiety, and like it's not fun. It's not fun. Um, and like I could tell the difference between like, because like if it's like urgent and like I need to do this right now, like out of everything, like there's a kid, or I don't know if like something crazy is going on out from my yard, or like somebody's breaking into my house, and if that thing's coming in my like, I'm like, I need to text this person right now, or more than anything, or the world's gonna end. And like that's what it feels like. And like I had to do it because I thought the world was gonna end if I don't text this girl, like, or you're not gonna know who you are, and like the acceptance, like, and, like I don't know, but that's what I thought. If I don't do this, like I'm gonna be a shitty person, and if I don't get everything out in certainty, I'm gonna be a shitty person. And that's exactly what happened. And and like now, reflecting on it, it sucks because like I gave in to that the monster, and like that the relief of it for no reason, because it's just and and you don't know, because it's just like there's a belief behind it, and I think the belief is just loneliness. And that's why I texted this person, because I was lonely. And when I get lonely, that happens. And like that's not the first time it's happened. I've had that happen a few times until I got diagnosed with OCD. And but like they whatever, because there was a bunch of things, and like other compulsions that I do. But like that's the big one because it kind of affects people. And it's like And I don't want to do that. And, I kind of just gave in to that. And, you know, and like the biggest thing I've learned is you just can't be hard on yourself. You got to forgive yourself, because if you're hard on yourself, like especially if somebody has OCD or like, other things going on like in your life, like you're missing out on a test, or if you're missing out on doing other things, or like you need to do something, like don't put yourself down, because when you put yourself down, it's just going to get worse. And I guess like one of the other things is like I've lost over 100 plus pounds, maybe over 150, and that taught me nothing. Or like I did it out of hate. So moral of the stories is like, accept who you are. And I'm still learning to do that. It's really hard. And, change your beliefs. Like, you're a good person. But yeah. Anyways, that's the end of the video. Just leave some questions if you want me to answer anything. But yeah, first video. Let's go.